Hello, my name is Jordan Jenkins. I'm the principal contributor for the Kronosphere project, and today I'm going to be showing you how to interact with our software in its current iteration. This is, I guess, our beta release. This is not a finished product. This is what we've gotten done in the span of a couple months, and should give you a general idea of kind of what our software is about and some of the features that it's going to have. So here is the main interface, as you can see right here. By default, when you go to kronosphere.org, that's Kronosphere with a K, it's going to take you to the universal timeline. Now, what we have here is everybody can create their own timelines with our software, and what we do is we take everybody's events on all of their timelines and put them all into one big timeline so that you can compare, say, everything that was happening in the 1920s besides just, the Roaring Twenties in America. What else was happening in the world and in history? So, as you can see, we've got here every year is represented, and then every year has a set of events that go with it. And we have all of the events that we have. So we've got everything from around 5000 BCE, which is the academic BC, before the Common Era, and then CE, which is Common Era right here. And each one of these is put into order based on when they happened during that year. So as we can see right here is an event that is on April 17th at 3:48 a.m. and here is one at 11 a.m., 12 p.m., so on and so forth. And to get an idea, we have the title of what our event is and then when it happened, but we don't have any description of it. Now, if you double click on this event, however, it pops up this nice little box here that's going to actually give you some of the what we call description data of what it is, so you can see what the event is about. And we've also made this timeline searchable, so if we click up here on the search bar, it's going to allow us to search by title of the timeline, the different tags that we have for the events, and other kind of related data. So if we were to search for, let's say, birthday, then we're going to get events that happened that have the word birthday in them or that are tagged with birthday. So right here we can see two of our developers' birthdays are put in here. And then the only real difference is if you're going to search by tag specifically, you put a pound sign in front of it. That's the little one that looks like a tic-tac-toe board if you're not up on the lingo. So this is all the stuff that you can do without ever having to actually register with us, give us your email address or anything like that. And you can view any of the events. Now, when you want to actually view other people's events and you want to, say, view somebody else's timelines or start creating your own, you're going to have to register. So let's go ahead and we'll register an account. We'll put this under a test email address. And it does check to make sure that's correct. So let's put that in and we'll call this test user. And go ahead and register ourselves. And as you can see, right now we're at our timelines, but we don't have anything, so there's nothing in here to show. So what we need to do is go over to the new set of buttons that we have here and go ahead and go on Create Timeline, and this is going to let us put in the name of our new timeline. Every timeline has a name that is, what are the contents of the timeline. So for now, let's call this, Demo Timeline. And as soon as we submit that, it starts appearing. Now, this is a new thing that we haven't seen in the universal timeline, is every single timeline that you create goes up into a tab system. So it's kind of like looking at a bunch of folders that have those tabs in the top, and you can easily switch between each of them. So if we were to make another one here, then it's going to put a second one up, and we can click between the two of them. So right now it's not really impressive because we don't have any events in it. We haven't made a timeline. You need at least 2 points to make a timeline. So let's go ahead and create an event here at the bottom. And as you can see, this pop-up box here tells us what information we need to put into our timeline in order to create an event. So let's say we have our first event. This is the first event. And by default, you only need to have the year of the event. If that's all that you know, then that's fine. The system can compensate for that, and no matter how specific you want to get, it does support that. So let's say that we know that this is going to happen in this happened in 2008, in the month of March, and the 23rd day at, I don't know, 10:40 in the morning. And we don't really know about the seconds. And we go ahead and create this event. There you go, there's our first event. Again, you know, not really anything impressive, just by clicking it. Now we did get a couple of extra things come up though when we double clicked on it. So right here we've got copy event and delete event. Anytime you're logged in and you're viewing someone else's event, you can copy the event into one of your timelines. So let's say that this is a great event and we want to add this to our timeline. We just click it and then tell it which timeline it needs to go into. So we'll put it in our second timeline, go ahead and copy it, and now we can click over here and see that it's also in our second timeline. You can also merge timelines where it'll copy all the events from another person's timeline into yours. So this is great. If you see a timeline that you really like that has a good start on something and you want to build upon that, you can now do that. So once again, we haven't really made any, we haven't made a timeline, we only have one event. So let's go ahead and create another event real quick. And we'll just put in some data here real quick. And this happened in 2011. We don't really know when in 2011. And here you go. It already sorted them for us. It puts in the time between the two dates, and you can put as much, as many dates as you want into your timeline, and it'll sort all those events for you. We're still working kind of on some of the specifics of like what happens when you have a lot of events. But one of the things we did have, if we go back to our universal timeline, is a real problem with if you have thousands and thousands of dates or a lot of time between your dates, you have a big long timeline to go through. It's nearly impossible to find anything. If I'm looking for specifically 800 BCE, it's very difficult for me to find that. But let's say that I wanted just a specific time range. I knew what I was looking for. I can put in at the bottom here the start and end years of what I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for, say, 20th century history, I can do 1900 to 2000 and then tell it to narrow that down just to that amount. And that helps me narrow it down on what I'm looking for, as well as the typical searches that we have. You can narrow it also by the year range. And so we've got a couple other things that we may or may not be getting in the works. Hopefully you guys, this is enough that you can start using it and start finding some uses for this. One of the things we do have also is you can delete your timelines and events, but just be aware that when you do actually delete those things, they don't disappear from the universal timeline. That's one of the things we really wanted was if you guys mess up, it's okay, don't worry about it, but it'll stay on the universal timeline. We're hopefully going to have a team of moderators who will go through and clean out things that don't belong or maybe that don't have the correct formatting. So it's definitely still a work in progress. We'd definitely love for you guys to play around with it, and hopefully you can give us some good feedback. I'm not exactly sure where, but we'll work on that too. And hopefully you guys enjoy it, and happy timelining.